You're listening to a 2-hour special of Mike Said It First, live on 12 Ounce Sports. Just a reminder that if you have not followed the show, go ahead and do so now. It's Mike Said It First on Twitter. And what is this, you ask? It's Friday Night Mike, March 26th, April 3rd, 2020. That's okay, we were horse racing moments ago, but you get it. I will actually... It's April the 3rd, I promise you, don't worry about that. But on today's show, who is the best NFL quarterback in the draft? Like, who should you pick? Who would you want your team picking? LeBron James, Michael Jordan, who's better? Well, the debate's been going on since the coronavirus has been hitting. Let's talk about it and give my take. DeAndre Hopkins was called out by Bill O'Brien. Somebody is kind of sour. Giannis says there's no access to hoops. Horse racing, like you just saw, and some slight changes to Mike coming up. It's April the 3rd, 2020 on a Friday Night Mike. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. Take a quick word from Drink-Aid, and we'll be right back and ready to go.
Drink-Aid, ready for distribution worldwide.
I didn't want to have to do that to you guys live, but I had to. That was killing me. It's April the 3rd, 2020 on Friday Night Mike. And as promised, the topics are pretty good. On today's show, let's get started with the first one. The NFL draft is coming up and is supposedly going to happen April 26, 2020, no matter what the coronavirus has to say about it. So, we got all this controversy about what should the Dolphins do, who's the better player in the draft, and also who's the best quarterback. I've seen quite a few people say Justin Herbert. I've seen, of course, Joe Burrow is the sexy pick. Tua, I've heard is injury prone, and that's just a lost cause. I've heard there's sleepers like Jordan Love and Jacob Easton. I'm gonna give you my take on those five, and I'm gonna tell you where they should go. So let's first start off with Joe Burrow. Now, the Bengals have the number one pick in the draft, and as far as we have heard from the media, Joe Burrow will be going number one to the Bengals. I haven't seen anything like the Bengals are going to draft him, and usually we start hearing rumblings by now, but all I hear is the Bengals are drafting Joe Burrow, which is kind of interesting because you kind of wonder, what's going on here. So I'm going to talk about Joe Burrow here and what I saw from him in college. This guy had a magical season, and I am not taking that away from him. This guy was pretty good. Okay, Joe Burrow had a great season. He read the defense well. He was athletic for a tall white guy. He's sneaky athletic. Joe Burrow could hit the deep pass, and he put up a bunch of numbers. But here is where I draw the line with Joe Burrow and say why he's not as good as you think he is. Now, you can hear about, just one season, and while I'm going to use that for my basis, don't just think that's the only thing I'm going to say here. So Joe Burrow, like I said, had a magical season. Everybody knows that. He broke records. We get it, the whole 9 yards. But Joe Burrow is not the fastest guy. He is not the toughest guy. And he doesn't have the biggest arm. So what is Joe Burrow's... Why do we say that Joe Burrow's number one pick? Because of recency bias. Joe Burrow had Jamar Chase, Thaddeus Moss, and Justin Jefferson on one team. Not to mention Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back, was the reason why LSU got back into the game against Clemson. Clemson was shutting down the run and making Joe Burrow crazy. But as soon as Clyde Edwards-Helaire got going, then Joe Burrow got going. Not saying a quarterback cannot use a running back, because obviously any quarterback would love to have a running back behind them. But Joe Burrow, to me, did not show that much in the championship game. Do you guys realize how many times the number one Jamar Chase is what I'm thinking of? Jamar Chase beat the cornerback for Clemson? Like 3 or 4 times they found busted coverage, and I'm like, how is that Joe Burrow showing out? Yeah, the stats are going to show Joe Burrow with a 40-yard pass. The stats are going to show Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase with a touchdown. And the stats are going to show another throw and another completion. But was that really that impressive? If Joe Burrow had not hit his receivers deep, he wouldn't be undrafted. It's impossible to miss those throws when a guy beats a guy 3 or 4 times in big moments in the game. Joe Burrow, I believe, is going to be a good quarterback. But here's a warning to Bengals fans, which I want to get to. I'm a Colts fan. And the fact is that Andrew Luck was the best quarterback in that class. He was better than RG3, and there's no debate about that. But Andrew Luck was not what the Colts needed. They needed so many other things. The Bengals, yeah, they have Joe Mixon. Yeah, they have A.J. Green. And as you guys know, if you haven't heard from me, that A.J. Green kind of tanked the last 8 weeks of the season after he was supposed to come back by week 8, and then magically didn't come back. It's easy to do that when your team is like 3-13. But if I'm the Bengals, I go with Chase Young. I know Burrow's from Ohio. Oh, Chase Young, as far as we know, went to Ohio State. So why has there not been that much of a conversation? Because of recency bias. Which brings me to my next quarterback. Let's go with Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is the guy who is actually has the nice body, you know. He's athletic, he has a decent arm, and, you know, he's got, you know, people like, there's a lot of scouts that like him. You know who I also heard that about? Blake Bortles. It's funny. When you hear these things about these quarterbacks, it's like their ceiling is so high. You know, they're athletic, they have the big arm. Well, I mean, what have they done for me? That's where Joe Burrow's season trumps anything Justin Herbert has done. Because Justin Herbert, did you guys see the game where he won the MVP with like the Senior Bowl or whatever? It was lifeless, okay? He made like 1 or 2 good throws in that game, like on touchdown throws, and it's like, okay, the Senior Bowl, it's like a Pro Bowl. Nobody's playing. Nobody cares. Can somebody tell me why Justin Herbert, because he has a high ceiling, that he should be the best? No, that's not the case. The case is, for me, is that at Oregon, Justin Herbert had a really pathetic offense. They obviously did not trust Justin Herbert. Like Joe Burrow at LSU was a trusted man. You can tell by the way they threw the football. From week 1, Justin Herbert was a deer in headlights when the play broke down. You know, for a guy who's athletic, he sure did throw a lot of short screens and slants, and he sure didn't run away that much from what I saw. I watched a lot of tape on the guy. You can look up on YouTube. No, it's not just highlights. You look up every single throw they make of certain games, every play they make on certain games. You can find like Frankie Vision, a bunch of little stuff. You'll find these videos. It's not just highlights. It's actual every single throw they make in the game. I was not impressed. I'm the guy who told you guys Daniel Jones was more ready than Dwayne Haskins, and so far I've been proven 110% right. Do not be fooled, Justin Herbert stands. Just because you hear of a guy's big arm and you hear about his athleticism does not mean he will not pan out like Blake Bortles. Which brings me to my next quarterback, Jacob Eason. This was a guy I actually kind of liked in the beginning of the season. But Jacob Eason has a lot of holes. Jacob Eason obviously is a decent quarterback, but I would not draft him very high in this draft. I'm going to take him like 3rd or 4th round, which is what you're hearing anyways. But Jacob Eason is the one that I actually would say has potential because he did make more pro throws than Herbert did in college. But Eason also made some mistakes. I was one of the guys who said Georgia should have kept Jacob Eason. So we didn't really get to see Jacob Eason with anybody special because he went to Washington. It's not like anybody was watching Washington all year. What about Jordan Love? Jordan Love is the athletic guy who can make the big throws as well. But the guy that I appreciate the most is Tua Tagovailoa. Now, the media right now is shoving 3 names down your throat. We are hearing about how Joe Burrow's season, which is the recency bias. We're hearing about how Justin Herbert has the best potential, which also compares to Blake Bortles, who also had a big arm and was athletic. And then we have Tua. What has the media told us about Tua so far? Well, first, he came into that championship game, was incredible, but then all we hear about is how he's injury prone. I'm sorry, has Tua ever had a back or a knee injury? Because usually when a guy is injury prone is gonna be fragile in the pros, it's like he has a blown out ACL like Todd Gurley, where he has a bad back like Michael Porter Jr. of the Denver Nuggets in the NBA. If I have an ankle injury and I repair it and I'm fine, and then I fall wrong on my hip, you don't think Tom Brady could fall wrong on his hip and get hurt? Like, the main concern with that was if his career would end now. And it didn't. He's fine. Have you seen the videos of Tua throwing the ball? That dude's quick on his feet, and he can make every throw in the book. He's extremely accurate. If I am you, and I'm a fan, first of all, make your own conclusions, because the worst thing fans do is listen to experts like Todd McShay, and who's the other guy? Although I like Joel Klatt, and then you have the other guy from NFL Network, Mike Mayock. That's all Mike Mayock is with the... But you know my point. That's the 3 guys you hear all the time. But why do we listen to them? They have like a 60% success rate. If I had to put a number on it, I wouldn't say it's that high. Please make your own conclusions. Tua is the best quarterback in this class. Do not make a mistake about that. If you want your guys to go for Trevor Lawrence, you go right on ahead. But what about where should these quarterbacks go? Joe Burrow should go... I'm going to say the Bengals because it seems like that's what's going to happen. Although I wouldn't be surprised if the Bengals jumped up and just, took Chase Young. I can also see Joe Burrow with the Patriots, but that's Jarrett Stidham's town right now. Maybe the Chargers. If I'm the Chargers, I sign Cam Newton and pick up Justin Herbert. Because your defense is already nice, your offense is already nice. Just, get a Justin Herbert. And, like I said, sign Cam Newton. Tua Tagovailoa, if I'm the Chargers, I pick him, but I don't think they're going to. I think Dolphins should. I think Dolphins should pick up Tua. Jacob Eason, so many teams he could go to. And then, of course, Jordan Love. I want the Colts to pick up Jordan Love. I don't know if that's going to happen. Hopefully they do. How about that LeBron versus Michael Jordan debate? We've been hearing about it, and you'll hear about it next. This is Mike Said It First. The time is 10:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be right back.
Nothing makes us happier at Lexington Law than when our clients cancel our services. Listen to this client call and see what we mean.
Lexington Law Firm, this is Erin.
I would like to cancel my account.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, don't be. Actually, you guys have done tremendous work for me, and I was working with you for several years now, and my goal was to get a mortgage written by the end of this year, and I just got that mortgage commitment.
That is wonderful.
My credit went from like 440 working with you guys to 700.
Nice.
And I got a very good 4.25% 30-year fixed rate mortgage. I have nothing at all bad to say. If you ever want me to write a testimonial, well, I will. As a matter of fact, I've recommended you to a lot of friends.
Lexington Law has served over 500,000 clients, taking expert action on their credit that has led to the removal of millions of questionable negative items from their credit reports. Call now and learn more about how Lexington Law may be able to help you in the removal of negative items from your credit report, such as collections, late payments, charge-offs, and many others. Call Lexington Law today.
Eight 877-323-3192, 877-323-3192. That is, of course, Lexington Law's phone number. Okay. LeBron James, Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time. Who is it? Why? Now, one of the main things you're going to hear a lot of people say is you cannot compare eras. You'll hear 6-0 versus 3-6. You'll hear, for LeBron's case, the all-time numbers. And you'll hear about Jordan's defense. Hear about the competition of both guys. Like, supposedly Jordan played in a tough guy era. LeBron played super teams. I get it. But who's the best? Well, it's LeBron James. And I know that I'm 23. I know I didn't watch Michael Jordan play live. I understand that. But I've been watching some 1980s, 70s, and 90s NBA Finals and playoff games. You know what's funny? Have you guys noticed how different the game was? Like, I think when people hear about, different eras, I don't think they really know the weight of how that felt live to watch. Because when I watched these games from way back, they were completely different. They're slower. They were just not very talented. And I know that a bunch of old heads will try to tell you, whoa, they were tough and these guys paved the way. And, listen, guys, actually watch it. I know that, if you can remember what it was like, but actually watch a 1988 game versus a 2013 game. It is miles different. I was watching the 2013 NBA Finals when that was the Ray Allen shot year when Ray Allen supposedly saved LeBron's legacy. I'll get to that next week. But the game was so much faster. If you think it wasn't physical, you're drunk. There were so many three-point shooters. The 1988 game, yeah, it was nice, but if you guys think basketball was better back then, I don't know what you're on. Basketball was not just 20 guys. I know there's only 10 guys on the court, but, slamming 8 of the 10 guys into the lane and just hoping something falls. That's not basketball. If that's what you mean by tough guy era, that's just stupid. If you think LeBron James, I always hear about, the flop James. First of all, you don't think Michael Jordan ever flopped? You don't think, come on, guys. But Michael Jordan was really good. And to say that he's second best is actually, not even it's not like it's a disservice. How dare you say that LeBron is better? Well, no. You can make a case. Because LeBron James is 6'8", 250. Some idiots like to say, well, 6'9", 265, which is completely untrue. He's 6'8", 250. He has been since he entered the league. It's just how it is. But it's this guy, to say his freight train, as even a Michael Jordan fan like Skip Bayless will say the LeBron James a freight train. So how is a freight train not going to make it back then? Are you kidding me? There's no way on earth that you think that he could not make it back then. Hey, soft. Under what circumstance? Because the game is 3-point shot now? That's not LeBron's fault that he plays in a more talented era. Guys are way more skilled. There's also way more athletes because more people and are playing, and there's way more access to talent. Like, social media got Zion Williamson really noticed. That's just how it is. But, and I know like this can go like a huge argument. I know I sound kind of angry right now, but really hear me out when I'm saying this. 6'8", 250 can run, jump, shoot, and drive just like Michael Jordan. He can dunk just like Michael Jordan. He can defend in his prime just like Michael Jordan. One Defensive Player of the Year does not change that. But LeBron can also pass. LeBron can also rebound. I heard this argument on a podcast today of Michael Jordan was averaging 25, 6, and 5. But you guys realize this, like LeBron's career numbers right now? Like, I would love to hear of a time when that was the cream of the crop. 25, 6. Are you kidding me? LeBron averages that in his sleep. He was averaging 11 assists this year, and somehow it's not good enough for you guys. He's too passive. Really? When LeBron takes out the Bucks and the Clippers in one weekend, I was telling myself, I was convinced that was a huge, I was like, wow, that's incredible. I couldn't believe it. But then I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm like, people are actually saying they're bringing up the Clippers games. LeBron already beat them both in one weekend. The last time we saw him. So why bring up the first two Clippers games? No. You can't just double standard yourself to the GO conference because that's just not fair. It's not right. The fact is, LeBron James is a better basketball player because of one key point I always bring up. Greatest of not 6 championships. Greatest of not just 10 years. Greatest of all time. If you want to say the greatest skilled player, I don't care. You can go and say that. Hardest worker, I don't care. Greatest champion, I don't care. The greatest player of all time is LeBron James. The numbers prove it. Stats were made so we could count their greatness. You cannot tell me the 1980s and 90s competition was better than today's. It's just not true. They were not as skilled. There was not as many athletes. You had 8 or 9 guys cramming the lane at a time, and that's just not pure basketball. Greatest of all time. We all know that Bill O'Brien and DeAndre Hopkins kind of had a nasty breakup. O'Brien probably compared Hopkins to, what's the guy? Aaron Hernandez. Hopkins went on Twitter and says, he didn't deny it, but he said, I love Bill O'Brien. Well, Bill O'Brien apparently does not give a hoot about this guy, and it's kind of sad. So I'm sitting there looking at this stuff, at the news before the show, and Bill O'Brien said that Hopkins wanted more money. What? I know I defended Bill O'Brien to an extent a week or two ago. But what the heck is this man thinking? Is he insane? It's one thing to compare a guy to a murderer, okay? From the outside looking in, that looks terrible, but you can kind of defend, maybe the conversation wasn't that bad. But talking about a guy's money in public, he wanted way more money and I didn't want to give it to him. What? Listen, I have said my criticism about DeAndre Hopkins, how when he faces a really good corner, he shut down. He had it multiple times last season. But how many times was Hopkins there for you when he had Tom Savage, Brock Osweiler? He's Watson's favorite target. Your other two guys, Will Fuller and Kiki Coutinho and other guys, are injured all half the season. And you're going to say, well, Hopkins wanted too much money. What? Why would you go out publicly and say that? Because you were called a racist. See? Bill O'Brien's trying to save face. He's trying to make it look like, I don't know how he thought this was going to make him look good, but he's like, oh, well, Hopkins wanted too much money. Did he not see the backlash that he himself received for letting him go for a pair of socks and a Snickers bar? Did he not see that how that was received? Oh, he wanted too much money. Well, what'd you get back for him? Like, I don't understand. Bill O'Brien, as bad as he was as a head coach, is even worse as a GM, and we have not even seen his roster put together yet. That is exceptionally fantastic. This man is a new level of idiocy and a new level of mediocrity. I mean, it's the Texans. If you thought they were mediocre before, they might be the next Browns or the next Bengals. And I know they have Deshaun Watson, but he needs to get the heck out of town, man. I was one of the first ones to say that. Deshaun Watson is going to have his career right away, just like Andrew Luck had in Indianapolis before Chris Ballard. I'm sorry. That's just sad. Giannis Antetokounmpo, during this coronavirus thing, has said he has no access to hoops, so he hasn't been playing basketball. Where do you live, Giannis? You live in an apartment complex? Like, I'm actually, it's different. Because I don't know, like, if Giannis means, like, an actual gym or if he means, like, an actual basketball hoop. Because I have a basketball hoop in my backyard. Look at Trae Young's Snapchat, and Trae Young is always telling guys to drop down and give him 20 because he beats them in a pickup game. Man, this is interesting. Giannis Antetokounmpo says he has no access to a hoop. That's it. That's very, very interesting to hear. I'm not sure if he's living in a shed or a toolbox or a tent, but that's different, man. That is very different. And I feel kind of bad for Giannis. But again, bro, like, where do you live? Let's take a quick 30 seconds real quick, and I'll get right back with a little mic promo.
Nothing makes us...
Thanks for tuning in to tonight's show. I'd like to use this break as a self-promotion. If you like what you hear, email me, michaelcarpelis12ounce@gmail.com, and maybe we can create a long-lasting partnership. I love promoting brands, and it'd be cool to have a product I know listeners and myself would like. It would benefit both sides. Thank you for tuning in. Now, where were we again? Alright, so far on the show we discussed about best NFL draft quarterback. I said it was Tua Tagovailoa. Don't listen to the media. Tua is the best quarterback in this class. And Bengals fans, beware. Is Joe Burrow really what you need right now? Or would you rather go with a surefire pick and Chase Young? LeBron James is a better basketball player than Michael Jordan. The eras were completely different. I don't think people even realize that. And LeBron James is not just the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. Stats prove it. DeAndre Hopkins was called out by Bill O'Brien for wanting too much money. Is O'Brien an idiot? Because he gave him away for a pack of Skittles and a hoodie. I don't understand it. And of course, Giannis Antetokounmpo says there's no access to hoops. Otherwise, I see Trae Young telling guys to drop down and give him 20 on Snapchat because he's hooping. I mean, it's interesting. Okay. Let's talk about some horse racing, which is kind of interesting. It's funny. I promise you guys I talk about hockey, and here we are talking about horse racing. So earlier tonight, about 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Cody Jansen of World Hockey Report and 12 on Sports got together a little group on Zoom. Everybody's using Zoom now. Skype is apparently no longer a thing. But Zoom, we were on there with Lou from Captain Lou Extravaganza, Jonathan from Talkman Radio, Logan Ward from the Between the Lines show, station owner Jeff Beck. That was pretty fun. Horse racing, and from according to Jeff Beck, we actually have 2 horses in the race next Friday. Wow, that's pretty cool. So check out how our horses do, man. We've got a male and a female. Apparently Beck's been breeding them. That's interesting. I don't trust him. We'll see what happens, though. And today I didn't do too well. I scored 4 points, but just watched the previous show. That was pretty fun. Okay. I had to mention some changes coming to Mike Sit It First. As you guys know, the last 2 weeks, or actually I believe it's 3 out of the last 4, I've missed my Mike Sit It First on Tuesday. I was kind of low-key unprepared coming into this one. But, unless you guys know, Friday Night Mike will still be a thing. But I'm in the works of getting a rearranged schedule to better fit my time with you guys and help you guys see my takes and really be more interactive. I felt so bad being unprepared today. I felt so bad the last 3 of the last 4 weeks not doing a Tuesday show. It just wasn't cutting it. Personal business reasons I couldn't do so. Friday Night Mike's been pretty consistent. We will stay our 10 o'clock slot. I'm getting some more stuff going on. I've also got some segments going on that I'm working on. I know one of the guys that really inspired me was Logan Ward of Between the Lines. He has an awesome Monday through Friday show at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. It's incredible. Has great topics, great show layout, great segments. And he inspired me, and really the whole team inspired me to do better. To be consistent in the way I haven't been before, and to be unique. And while the show is very unique, it's a bunch of yelling and screaming on why I'm right. All in all, I know I could do better. And I cannot wait to see what the future holds. I know you guys, bunch of you guys can't either. I have some guests that I'm kind of planning lined up right now. Scout with Brian of Twitter, NBA Twitter personality, former scout with teams like the Hawks, etc. I've got interviews set up with different people. Got some guests coming up. Don't worry, we're still here. I really want you guys to realize I'm trying to work for you guys because I really want to pursue this thing, and I think it's going to be really fun. 12 Ounce Sports allows me to do this from my home. Allows me to do this at a fun, my pace. I cannot thank these guys enough. But enough droning on. Next week, I'll get into a 2013 NBA Finals recap. Stay tuned for the date on that if we have changed the schedule around. I'll talk about some NFL drafts a little bit more. I'll also recap this NBA 2K Players Challenge going on as we speak. That's pretty fun to watch. Cannot wait for you guys. Again, stay tuned to the show. Quick little 40-minute show tonight. I had some fun with the horse racing, so it's kind of like I was on for like an hour, about an hour and 15 minutes. So I felt pretty good about tonight. Again, recap of the night. Best NFL draft quarterback this year is Tua Tagovailoa. LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. Stats show it, and the eras show it. Bill O'Brien calls out DeAndre Hopkins. Is he an idiot? Watson needs to get out of town. No access to hoops for Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is interesting. Horse racing, don't forget to catch it next Friday. And some changes to the show, including schedule and new segments and all kind of guests, and you know how it is. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tune into that Twitter page as well. Mike Sit It First on Twitter to see full topic lists. Bunch of fun stuff going on with the show. How about a little bit of commercial break, and then we'll have a final word. This has been a Mike Sit It First live on 12 Ounce Sports. thank you for bearing with me tonight. Again, I've got a lot of cool stuff coming. Been inspired by the hard workers of this station. There's no time like the present to keep you guys occupied. Again, tune in for the next show, possibly next Friday. I know I will have a show next Friday, but we'll see if I have any before that. Just stay tuned to the Mike's It First Twitter page. This has been a really fun show. It was quickie, but hey, watch the horse race that just happened on the previous segments, and of course check out next Friday's show with Jeff Beck. He's going to see how 12 on Sports does in the horse racing. He's got 2 horses. I'm impressed. Mike's It First on Twitter. You know how we always end this thing? Are you ready, kids? Are you ready, kids? I can't hear you. Have a good one!